I spent a whole day last week working with a group of people to help them manage their stress. Or to be more precise about it, to help them manage their minds, to realise that there is no stress. What stresses one person out motivates another. Stress is a uniquely personal experience. It is the product of a mind out of control. In other words, stress is imaginary. Now, the knock-on effects of imagining that you suffer from stress are not imaginary. In fact, there is a direct correlation between long-term background stress levels and coronary heart disease. But that doesn't take away from the fact that stress itself is not real. Yes, there are stressors or potential stressors in our lives, but it is how we react to those stressors, how we actually perceive what those stressors even are, that actually creates what we perceive as stress. And the knock-on effects of that are all the various biological problems that arise in the body from a depression in the immune system, from a depression of the digestive system, from an increase in heart rate and blood pressure that leads to all the health problems that are associated with stress. But in working with this group last week, it occurred to me that actually what causes stress is really quite simple. Psychology tells us that there is a two-step cognitive process in imagining yourself to be suffering from stress. First of all, you perceive what is going on in the outside environment and evaluate whether or not that is a potential stressor. The second step in the process is to decide whether you are up to the task of dealing with this potential stressor. If you fail in that analysis, then you will perceive yourself to be suffering from stress. But the two-step process, I think, overcomplicates the whole thing. Really, our imagination that we're suffering from stress is born out of what we think about ourselves and what we think about our capabilities. In other words, it's born of our personality. We all know from other videos and on this website and from a vast amount of research that personality is something that doesn't exist. I know there are industries that make a fortune measuring personality, boxing people into different types of personalities. But personality is something that was learned during our formative years as a result of what was done for us and to us by those who made an impression upon us during those formative years. Now, this is the basis on which we make all our decisions as adults. It's what's known as our stored knowledge, or at least the most important piece of our stored knowledge. In other words, it is the base reference point that we use to evaluate A, what is going on, and B, whether we think we are up to the task of dealing with what is going on. So if you think about it, if we break it down, stress is simply a product of who we think we are. Stress is a product of an illusion called our personality. But that illusion leads to another illusion, that I am suffering from stress. You can't disassemble your personality. You can't unlearn what you have already learned, but you can ignore it. You ignore these things that are standing in your way, standing in the way of you having a wonderful, happy, successful life effortlessly. You can ignore this thing that is standing in your way by training your mind to pay attention to something far more real than this illusion. By training your mind to pay attention to the moment. It is the essence of mindfulness. It is why mindfulness is so important, because without mindfulness we are mindless creatures, and mindlessness leads to every single perceived problem in our lives, including the problem of stress.